about a website on a day when it's 75 degrees outside and sunny, anyway, but I appreciate you being here. And thank you to those who have taken a look at my website and to those who have used it. And I've heard from many people, and one person in this room who was navigating around town yesterday using the website. I mean, it's there for you. And it's thank you. And I put some of these little flyers in the back with a QR code or whatever. I also have my social media accounts listed here, but it's you can find it all on the website, which is tompettytrail.com, and you can bookmark it and put it on your home screen if you're interested in doing that. But anyway, that's what I'm here to talk about. I want to thank my wife, Elaine Austri, for coming up with the idea, which I'll talk about, and for skipping out on being a department chair to fly down to be here today.
Gladly.
Probably most importantly, I want to thank Tom Petty, because of course without him, none of us would be here, right? I mean, so yeah. So about this whole Tom Petty Trail thing. So first off, I'm a fan, like Kevin. So my story is probably common. I mean, for me, it was Refugee, and it was a pre-MTV video. I was 13 years old, and it came on, and you've probably seen it. He's walking down the dark alley with a guitar, and they go down to the basement, and he spins around, and it's so low tech and so cool. And at the time, I mean, I moved around a lot as a kid, and I'm tall, and I have big hair, and everyone kind of stand out, and everyone picks on the new kid. So, I mean, people would bully the 6'5" kid, and so, I was used to like fighting back, and that song Refugee, and I'm like, who is this? And I went out and bought the album, and then, the song Even the Loser spoke to me even more. I lived in Maine at the time, and I remember taking my turntable and putting the records on it and little speakers, and I would turn it outside of my windows and just like blast it to the neighborhood. Radical statement. But, and then since then I bought all the albums, and not just of the Heartbreakers, but Mudcrutch, and every outtake, and every album in which someone was involved with as a session musician. I mean, my house is filled with records and CDs and whatever. I'm just obsessed with collecting all kinds of music, but everything that Petty and Petty's universe was involved with. I saw the Heartbreakers 12 times. I wish I saw them more. I saw Mudcrutch once. I've seen the Dirty Knobs 3 times. I saw Benmont Tench twice. I saw Benmont and Mike with this whole Last Waltz thing. So, I mean, I'm a mega uber fan. So there's that part of it. That's why I'm doing this. And the trail part. So as a kid, I grew up mostly in New England, and when you drive around New England, there's historic markers everywhere, various buildings and places, and I always found that cool and interesting. But I went on a trip in junior high school to Boston, and we went along the Freedom Trail, and that celebrates, or not celebrates it, it acknowledges the Revolutionary War site. So there's where the Boston Massacre occurred, the Boston Tea Party, or whatever. And not to compare, mapping sites connected, Tom Petty is anything connected with that, but it's this whole idea, and I didn't directly say, oh, trail, but I probably had that in the back of my mind. The idea is that I would go around to these places, and in lieu of the historic marker, I could have information about it and think, this is what happened here. This is kind of interesting. That feeds me, and it seems to feed some other people from what I've heard. I had one of the sources that I have, one of the many sources, is Marty Gerard. Marty Gerard grew up mostly in Gainesville. He wrote the Music Everywhere book, which is really helpful. He runs the Gainesville Rock History Facebook group, which is a really neat resource for me, and it's uber Gainesville. He's been helpful to me in shoot him some questions and answering my questions that I didn't know about, stuff that he would know. He was friends with Tom. He actually played on a couple Heartbreaker songs, saxophone and stuff. But anyway, he was critical of me with mapping private locations. And I draw the line at mapping like where someone lives now. Like, I know where, say, Stan Lynch's beach house is right now. I know where Bruce Petty's house is because that can be found in public records search. But I'm not going to map that, okay? Because they live there, right? There's a barrier of privacy. But when someone is no longer living there, right? Petty's childhood home and Ben Montench's childhood home, or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Marty kind of disagrees, but that's okay. We can disagree with that. But I did get him to concede, and he said this in kind of a professorial way. His dad used to be a professor at UF, so I had to write this down so I could share this with you. So he said, the past, I don't know how he speaks, but I'm going to do it in a professorial kind of tone. The past is quite alluring. I think of walking around Pompeii, a place I would like to visit, and thinking that down that street was exactly where the Romans walked, bought bread and wine, went about their lives. It's oddly compelling and a bit like time travels that you can do, if only in your mind. Mm-hmm. And I think Professor Gerard is right about that. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. And then the last part of this is the .com part. That's just a domain name. There's no commercial enterprise. There's no advertising on the site. I'm not selling anything. There's no fees. This is costing me a lot of money out of my retirement savings. Okay, so this is a gift.
What better use?
This is a gift to everyone to use from here on out. Now, in terms of like what skill set that I bring into it, like I said, I'm a retired journalism professor, a journalist. So I'm a reporter, a writer, I'm an editor, I'm a photographer, so that feeds into it. I like to research, I like to interview people. I've interviewed a whole bunch of people. I've just spent the last 8 days in town interviewing more people. I'm not going to drop names now, but I'm now into the family interviewing, which is really interesting because you get different perspectives, and I have contacts for others, and so this is going to hopefully blossom and grow. I like to travel, I like history, I like genealogy, and of course, Tom Petty. So I'm trying to create like a historical document, a record of sorts, but in a tangible way that people can use. And so when I hear from someone in the audience who pulls up the phone and you can read about a particular spot of interest, and you can click it and the map comes up and you can navigate it because you have all that and you're using it. That's great. I have 183 spots on there, and it will grow. I'm a low-tech guy, as I told Paul, so we don't have an overhead. I don't have the laptop, I don't have the phone, so I would just describe to you what you would find on the website, which you can, or you can look on your phone. So right now it's all under the Tom Petty's Florida umbrella. Insert footnote, I'll come back to that. On the home page, there's an overview of the site. And then there's an overview of me, kind of how I got interested in that. You see a picture of me with the Tom Petty Park sign there. I have a table of contents and then links to the various sections of the sites that you can visit. I have media coverage, and I have public reactions, what people have been saying about that on the homepage. I have these mapped street addresses. Everything is on Google Maps. The frustration is some of the places I'm looking for, someone will say, yeah, like I say, Jim